Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Satchidananda Rupaya Vishwotpatyadi Hetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha. समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्म विद्वरम्. Hari Om, salutations to all. So we are in the 22nd discourse of the 4th canto, and we saw how Sanatkumars have now come to the court of Raja Prthu. Raja Prthu is very happy that these great Mahatmas have come, and he bows down, he worships them, washes their feet, and he expresses. So we were in that portion where he expresses how blessed he feels that even the great yogis don't have the fortune of having darshan of these great Sanatkumars. They are eternally 5 years young. They are the Manasaputras of Brahmaji, the earliest, the first beings, in fact, who came out. So he says here that even yogis find it difficult to perceive them, but those who are the devotees of the Lord, there is nothing very difficult to attain in this world or the next. For him, with whom the Brahmanas like you, meaning like Sanatkumars, Lord Shiva, Vishnu, and their attendants are pleased. Now, he asks them about liberation. So now see here, so he doesn't even ask them how you are. Why he doesn't ask them? See what he says here in that 14th shloka. Bhavatsu kushala prashna atma rameshu neshyate kushalava kushalava kushala kushala yatra nasanti mativrittayaha. So he says that it is out of place to make enquiries of your welfare. Why? Because you revel in your own self. Atmarameshu. And there is no thought of good or evil that arises in you. And so they are living in that state which is beyond good and evil. So how are you? I'm fine. I'm not fine. Those questions also are not relevant here. Then he says here that is there any hope? One shloka before that he says Kachinna kushalam natha indriyarthartha vedinam vyasanavapa etasmin patitanam swakarmabhihi. So he says we are very attached to the sense objects, and says that is there any good for us who know the object of senses to be the only thing worth coveting, and we have fallen through our own doings in this samsara. So please tell us a way to get mukti from this samsara. Sampriche bhava etasmin kshema kenanjasa bhavet. Kshema here means mukti. In the 15th shloka, second half. So Raja Prthu is asking about mukti. Bhagwan, we have seen that Raja Prthu is avatar of Bhagwan only. But again, the question is asked for Loka Sangraha. Also, it shows the humility. Like Bhagwan is in the form of a king. Here, he is a Raja. And he advised the Praja about Dharma Palan and what will happen if they follow dharma, what will happen if they don't follow the dharma, how it will affect the king, and how the mutual connection is there between the king and the subjects. So he is in the role of a Kshatriya. And here are the great Mahatmas who have come, Sanatkumars, who are Brahmanas. And the example Bhagavan sets, that when such great Mahatmas come, ask them what type of questions. Not about how are you, what is your present occupation, how many ashrams have you built. None of those questions he is asking. He is straight away asking about liberation, how to get liberation. So also the point to understand here is, even though he is an avatar of Bhagavan, to get the knowledge about the self, Atmajnana, one still requires the Guru. Many avatars of Bhagavan have set that example. Bhagavan Ram had a Guru, Bhagavan Krishna also had a Guru, here Raja Prthu has a Guru. Like that we will see, many examples will come. So he asks about liberation, because even if one may have read the Vedas, Upanishads, Acharya Mukhat Shravanam Kuryat, the Mahavakya Upadesh has to be heard from the mouth of the realized person. And from a Sadguru, actually. Is not only a realized person by itself, but someone who in whom one has great faith. Here he has that faith. In the earlier part we saw that. So much faith that he is having, and that's why he asks to Sanatkumars, please tell us the way for liberation. So he says, in fact he says in the 15th shloka with the word Shraddha only, with faith only, he says, Tadaham krita vishrambhaha suhrido vastapasvinam sampriche bhava etasmin kshema kenanjasa bhavet. So reposing full faith in you, I inquire of you how salvation can be easily attained in this very birth. So now Maitreya Rishi explains that how the Sanatkumars were very happy, and they also realize that this question is being asked for the well-being of everyone, not that Raja Prthu needs it, but he is setting that example as a king. And how a king also has a role of wielding power for a certain time, and in that time do the dharma rakshan, do the dharma samsthapana, protect the people, make the economy grow, all that which we saw. After that, one has to spend time in seeking the supreme, hand over the reins of the kingdom to other worthy descendants and move. And that's what will happen. We will see that after Sanatkumar's Upadesha, Raja Prthu leaves with his wife Archi. They go. So power is there for a certain time. The duties are there for a certain time. Whether one is a king, one is a householder, whoever one is. That stage is only for a certain time as per one's ashrama dharma, one's varna, is only for a certain time. After that, one has, and that time is meant for preparation for Atmajnana. So whichever role one is playing, as a householder, as a professional, as a king, as a leader, as a teacher, whatever role one is playing, any role is there only for a certain time. After that, exclusive time for spiritual pursuit. So that's the reason why one is here on this earth, in the human form. So here, Sanatkumars, they say, 18th shloka, Sanatkumara uvacha sadhu prishtam maharaja sarvabhuta hitatmana bhavata vidusha chapi sadhunam matiridrashi. Sadhu prishtam maharaja, oh great king. See here, beautiful aspect is, the Sanatkumars don't act out of any superiority complex saying we are Brahmanas, we are greater than you, you all have to ask us questions. None of that. If anybody feels like that, they are not really Brahmanas. Here they respect the king greatly. Hey Maharaja, Sadhu Prishtam, you have asked a very good question. And for what? Sarvabhuta hitatmana, only for the well-being of all the beings, all the jivas. Bhavata vidusha chapi, even though you know the answers. It's not something that you don't know, but you have still asked. Sadhuna matiri rishi, because this is how the good people, they think. They think for the well-being of all. They don't think only for themselves. They don't think that I know already the way of liberation and I'm going to pursue it. What more can I ask them? How are you? How are you doing? What's up? None of that he wants to ask. Liberation also no need to ask. So nothing to ask. He doesn't think like that. He says, for the well-being of all, you have asked this question, so it's a very good question. Sangama khalu sadhunam ubhayesham cha sammatah yatsambhashana samprashnaha sarvesham vitanotisham. So when great people meet, great seekers also meet, then both of them will benefit when such questions are asked and answers are received. So worthy questions put to and the noble answers given by them enhance happiness of all. So the conversation between two seekers also is like that. When two seekers meet, how should they talk? What should they talk? They should talk about Bhagavan, they should talk about sadhana, they should talk about what kind of study one is doing. Satsang one has to do. Most of the time, even when we meet as seekers, what are we talking? What happened in the family? This is there, that problem is there, this is happening in the country. Satsang happens very less. But that is what is to be done mainly. Satsang is to be done. Especially when such great noble souls like Sanatkumars have come, and they have come on their own. It is not that the king has invited them. They came on their own. So when they have come on their own, the king also is an adhikari here. That's why they have come on their own. So what is the conversation that happens between them? That is about mukti. Because both of them know the real essence in this world is only Bhagavan. Everything else is asara, it comes and goes. For duty's sake, whatever one has to do, one does, but beyond that, what else? And that also for a certain duration. Now this Prthu Raja is asking this question not as a theory, that's what we will see now. When he understands all this, he implements it. He says, now my duties are done. It's time to now exclusively focus on the truth. So he goes. So it's not that he's asking this question for some formality or, just to please the Sanatkumars, or this is a politically right question to ask. That, we have, okay, if we meet such and such people, X, Y, Z, these are the questions to ask. Standard question. So any spiritual person we meet, a standard 3-4 question just ask. He asks out of his bhav. And that's why the Sanatkumars also are pleased, and they say that the meeting of such great souls is appreciated by each other, the listener also and the speaker also, because the questions and the answers that are exchanged will benefit both and will benefit others also, whoever is listening or whoever will know about it later on. So here they continue that you are now they praise the king, saying that you are gifted with the rare and abiding love for hearing the praises of Bhagavan Hari, which will shake off all impurity of the mind in the form of latent desires, which are difficult to remove. So for the mind to revel in the glory of Bhagavan, take some amount of punya karma, some amount of sattva guna, and consistency and single pointedness of seeking. Otherwise, one doesn't have interest in listening to Bhagavan's katha. Something or the other one goes on doing in the world. Or one makes it very mechanical. There are so many people who keep on listening to Bhagavat. N number of times one would have listened to Bhagavat. This saptah, that saptah, this person, that person, saptah. One keeps going. Nothing wrong. One should go. Satsang will anyway have an impact. But if it is done with the bhavana, then the impact will be so much more. One is just sitting there listening. This I know, this I know, this also I know, okay. Or one is going there because of whole family is going, family has organized it, so we have to go. For some vyavahara, one is going. There can be different motivations why one goes. Here, he says that you are gifted with the rare and abiding love. Bhagavat Prem is there. Then one wants to listen to the Katha of Bhagavan more and more. Just like when we love anybody, then we want to know more about them, think more about them, spend time with them. That bhava is there. So now they start. What do they say from this 21st shloka onwards? The Upadesh will start. Upadesh starts now. Shastresh Vishaya. The tune is different, huh? Shastreshviyane vasunischito nrinam kshemasya sadhyagrivam mrisheshu hetuhu kshemasya sadhyagvi mrisheshu hetuhu asanga atma vyatirikta atmani dridharatir brahmani nirgune chaya. So first point they say is what is said in the scripture. They are not saying on their own. This is another greatness of the sadhus and the Sanatkumars specifically here. Time-tested wisdom of the Shastra is what they will impart. It's not their opinion, their experimentation, something. In the scripture, when this inquiry into the truth has been made, what is the first thing that is said? No attachment to anything other than the self. Meaning, asakti to the anatma has to be removed. Asanga atma vyatirikta atmani. And attachment should be only to the self. Meaning, attachment to the self, meaning one should seek intensely the self. First means of liberation is exclusive choosing of the self. And detachment from the anatma, which is vairagya. And that is what the duties in the world is supposed to give me, vairagya. So he says here that the way for salvation, liberation is that dridharatihi brahmani nirgunecha. Dridharatihi, firm devotion. Or rati literally means to revel. Reveling firmly in the nirguna brahma. Brahmani nirgunechaya. Earlier it was said that you are blessed with devotion, you are blessed with love and devotion, and you have the desire to listen to the Katha of Bhagavan, praises of Bhagavan. That is Sagun Sakar. Now he is in Nirgun Nirakar, both. Why? Because that is ultimate mukti. Sanatkumars don't mince any words. They don't say that mukti is you go to this loka, that loka. That has its relevance, its importance in a context, no doubt. But when the question was asked about samsar, liberation in this very birth, freedom from this transmigration, that is only possible with Kaivalya Mukti, with the state of realization of oneness of Jiva Jagat Ishvara. Because any other loka one goes, one can come back. This Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, that story we will see. In that Hiranyaksha story we saw already, They were two guards of Bhagwan, Parshad of Bhagwan they were in the Vaikuntha Loka, but from Vaikuntha Loka also they came to earth. And that's why in the 15th chapter, what does the Lord say? Yadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Having attained which one doesn't return. Return where? Return into the realm of ignorance. It's not question of birth in this world. It is a question of, did my ignorance get removed or not? Did the Jiva Bhava get destroyed or not? If I again fall into the Jiva Bhava, then what kind of liberation is that? Yad gatva nanivartante. Once that ignorance is destroyed, one never falls back into ignorance. One realizes actually one never was bound. That is paramam mama, that paramam dhamam. That's why Bhagavan says tadhama paramam mama. It is my param dham. Other dhams are aparadham. So if we say Vaikuntha Lok, Golok, Saket Lok, Kailas, all different lokas which are there, or Brahma Lok, 7 lokas which are there, all those are there. At a certain level of evolution, they are there. But if one wants freedom from transmigration, it is not that one will stay in Vaikuntha forever. This freedom from transmigration means avidya, the root cause of samsara, has to be burnt. That's all. There is no other solution for that. Any other solution, we may come back. Even after being closest to Bhagavan, one can still come back on the earth. Why? Because the root cause is not removed. Avidya is not removed. That's why when Shankaracharya says, Jnane naivatu kaivalyam, only through self-knowledge, intuitive self-knowledge, there is liberation, nothing else. Straight Sanatkumars, they said, you must have firm devotion to realize that Brahman. Now, see, what does that mean? Firm devotion, Dridhe Ratir Brahmani Nirgune Chaya. The firm devotion to realize Brahman. You see the words there? Rati is used. Nirgune Ya. Nirgune Brahmani. So people say Bhakti Marg is only, Bhakti Marg is separate Marg. Vedant mein Bhakti nahi hai. Why should we do Bhakti? Emotionally, one must have the bhav that I want to realize only Brahman. That is called Vairagya. That Vairagya and Bhakti are going together. If one does not have Vairagya, it is impossible to realize absolute Brahman. Then one should realize Sagun Sakar Brahman. With the grace of that Sagun Sakar Brahma, one will get Vairagya, one will attain Nirguna Brahma also, finally. So those who say, no, we don't worship this form and God and why we are Vedantin, is this there? Ratir Brahmani Nirgunecha. Firm devotion to Nirguna Brahma, nameless, formless, attributeless, birthless, changeless, deathless. Firm devotion to that. Is the mind able to steadily contemplate on that? Then that question only will not arise, that should I worship form or formless? It will not arise. Rejection of form will not even happen. And this whole debate of form, formless itself is not necessary actually from spiritual standpoint. Because, it's very interesting. Yesterday I was having some satsang, in that we were discussing this. So in that, as one reflects, one thought just came. From many forms of Bhagavan, we have to choose one form of Bhagavan. That is our Ishtadevata. It's from one form to no form. That is not in our hand. That is in the hands of Bhagavan only. The Ishtadevata will ensure that he will reveal the Nirgun Nirakar Parabrahma Tattva to the Bhakta. So our job is only one. From worldly forms to God's form. That is all we have to do. From worldly forms to, even if we have many forms of Bhagavan, to one form we have to choose. That is all we have to do. If we have supreme Vairagya and we don't want a form and our mind is ready to contemplate only on Brahman, that is a different matter. But otherwise, majority of us, we need one form. And that form is Bhagavan's form. He is not some created form by human being. That bhav must be there. This is Bhagwan's form, it exists, and I will have darshan of Bhagwan in this form. Our job is only that much. How beautiful is that? We actually don't have to reject the form at all. Because if I'm ready for the formless, automatically it will happen. We have to do nothing. But we reject happily the form also. We are not ready for the formless also. Some weird hallucination we are in. And then we think that Atma Tattva I'm meditating on only Brahman. And people ask the question, is it necessary to visualize form of Bhagavan? When we do all this, the guided meditation, focus here or focus in the heart and visualize the form of Bhagavan. Is it necessary? It is very necessary. Because that is what will take us across. Prepare the mind, make it pure, make it single pointed. After that, Bhagavan only will ensure that from one form one goes to no form. So if we have enough vairagya, that is blessing of Bhagavan anyways. If one is having this, Nratir Brahmani Nirgune Chaya, that is anyway Bhagavan's kripa only. And it comes only after a lot of punya karma and lot of sadhana and upasana. It will not come just like that. Even great people like Ramana Maharshi, they worship Lord Shiva and Arunachala before realization also, after realization also. Shankaracharya, the greatest Advaitin, worship Lord Shiva. So many people, Ramakrishna worship Mother Kali, they had no conflict in their mind. Their mind revels in Nirguna Tattva also, and they work in they worship the Sagun Sakar also. For them, there is no difference. Gurudev also, one very nice shloka about Gurudev is, in the Kritagnyata Stotram it comes, Nirgune Nischala Nishtha Sagune Sarasaratihi. One, he has a firm abidance in the Nirguna Tattva. That I am Brahman, there is nothing else. And Sagune Sarasaratihi, and great devotion for the Sagun Sakar. One mala Gurudev used to wear on his hand, and many times he will take out that Rudraksha mala and he will do Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya Japa. He doesn't need to do realized oneness with Shiva. Temple, so many he established. He will visit the temple also. He will offer flowers also. He will do Pradakshina also, Namaskar, all that he will do. They don't have any conflict. So here he says, very beautiful, that one has to choose that self exclusively. This is Upanishad principle. And we should not think that, oh, Bhagavat is saying this. No, Upanishad's principle only Bhagavat also is saying. Yame vaisha vrunate tena labhyaha. Whoever chooses this self exclusively alone will attain it. Tasyaisha atma vivrunate tanum swam. This atma will reveal itself to that person who exclusively chooses this self. Meaning with single pointed devotion, intensely one is seeking, I want to know who am I. That. So he says this. So that's the first point he says. As per the scriptures, no attachment to the not self and deep attachment to the self and intense love for that self which is Nirgun Parabrahma Tattva. One. Then he says that this 21st we saw, Then Sa Shraddhaya Bhagavad Dharmacharyaya Jignasaya Dhyatmika Yoga Nishtaya Yogeshwaropasanaya cha Nityam Punyashrava Kathaya Punyaya cha. So, Shraddhaya, with great faith, Bhagavad Dharmacharyaya, following the duties and dedicating them to Bhagavan. Doing all the daily duties, dedicating to the Lord. Now, so we should remember some of these are, so the highest method for Uttam Adhikari is no attachment to the self, not self, full exclusive seeking of the self. That means great Vairagya. Now, how will Vairagya come? So that is the next step here. By doing the duties with great faith and dedicating it to Bhagavan. And who is that Lord? That Lord is the Lord who is both the cause of the world also and who is appearing as this world also. The effect is nothing but causing another form. So all duties are dedicated to that Lord. That Nirgun Tattva only is appearing as Sagun Sakar. A very interesting anecdote. Akhandanandji Maharaj's guru is Udiya Babaji. So Udiya Babaji, one person went to him and he said, ईश्वर तो निर्गुण निराकार है. Immediately Udiya Babaji, you know what he replied? He was like an avadut, he was a Virakta Mahatma. He told immediately, he said, अगर ईश्वर निर्गुण निराकार है तो सगुण साकार क्या तुम्हारा चाचा है क्या? We are creating the differentiation between nirgun nirakar and sagun sakar. He said this sagun sakar, this whole universe is appearance of Bhagavan only. So where sagun sakar is not your uncle. The sagun sakar is the effect only, is nothing but cause in another form. This whole universe is the effect that is cause in another form. So if somebody says, where is God? Where God is not, all this is God only. Our bhav is not there, so we are not seeing. Mahatmas, they see Brahma alone. So here he says that supreme infinite consciousness, which is Nirgun Tattva, which is the substratum of the world, that only is the effect. With great Shraddha, one must do the duties and dedicating it to Bhagavan, because Bhagavan alone is manifesting as all this. So this, through the discharge of duties consecrated to the Lord. So that is Sa Shraddhaya Bhagavad Dharmacharyaya. Then that is Karma Yoga. Then Jignasaya Adhyatmika Yoga Nishtaya. Then this is the Jnana Marg. Great amount of desire one should have, this great burning desire for liberation. Here Jignasa is a curiosity, but indicating of that. The deep desire to know the truth. And Adhyatma Yoga Nishtaya, this knowledge of the self one should attain. Meaning study. Approach the Guru, study the Shastra, then do the reflection, Manan, Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan. So through that you develop Rati for Bhagavan, Nirgun Nirakar. Through Karma Yoga one can develop that Rati, which includes Bhakti. Through this Jnana Yoga one can develop this Rati, because if one has that level of Vairagya, then through Jnana one will follow. If one does not have, through Karma one will follow. Whichever way as per the Adhikara. Then the third is Bhakti Yoga. Yogeshwara Upasanayacha Nityam. Or you do Upasana of that Yogeshwara, Supreme Lord, who is a master of all yogas. Whether it is Bhagavan Shiva or Bhagavan Vishnu or anyone, all they are representing the same. Yogeshwara does not mean only Krishna Bhagavan. Swamiji Yogeshwara Krishna is written. Arey, Shivji also is the creator of yoga. Devi also can be that. Ganeshji also can be that. Whichever form we worship, Yogeshwara Upasanaya cha Nityam. And Nityam word is there. Continuously, every day, consistently. And also what should one do? Punya Shravha Kathaya Punyayacha. And listen to the glories of this Lord. Because bhav will come only when we understand Bhagavan is real, understand the Leelas of Bhagavan, understand the symbolism behind that, imbibe the qualities of that Supreme Lord, whoever is my Ishta. So, listen to the stories of Bhagavan. Punya Shrava Kathaya Punyayacha. Then, what one should do? Some do's are, these are do's which are given. Follow Karma Yoga, follow Jnana Yoga, follow Bhakti Yoga. Do a combination also. No problem. But choose one predominantly. The other two will be there in that. Now some don'ts are given. Arthendriya Rama Sagoshtya Trishnaya Tatsammatanama Parigrahena Cha Vivikta Ruchya Paritosha Atman Vina Harer Guna Piyushapanat. piyushapanat. So avoid certain company for at least some time. Not branding them, those people, as bad, but as not necessary for my spiritual evolution. What are those? Who are those? Artha Indriya Arama. Those who are highly attached to money, wealth, and all kinds of sense enjoyments. So he says, you don't encourage the company, meaning you develop distaste for it. Not for those people, for this type of a attitude, where money is everything, and forget that money one does anything, or one wants to enjoy, just keep enjoying, be extrovert, doesn't bother even about morality, dharma, nothing, just eat, drink, be merry. Don't think of all this. Human life is very short. Khao, piyo, mauj karo. All that type of charvak philosophy. So he says you avoid that. Now please remember, he's telling this to the king. Huh? We may think that king's life, is full of enjoyment and sensual pleasures and living in the palace and pursuing wealth and all that. Now that king asked very clearly about mukti. So he says Sanatkumars, they don't have any, fear. What will the king say? How can we say to the king that, don't be attached to enjoyment and about wealth. So we will tell things which will please the king. Nothing. What is the truth is the truth. This is what will lead you to the absolute. Now how to follow that, whether to follow that, how much one can follow, that is all left to the king. This is why Brahmana Santu Nirbhaya. Brahmana has to be fearless. Brahmana can be fearless. One is by their quality, other is by the nyaya and dharma that king follows. If the king has created an image that, you tell me only things which will please me, flatter me, praise me, glorify me, and things which I should not do, don't tell me, then that Brahmana will not tell the truth. If that person does not have that much of fearlessness, one may hide the truth. One may say only what is so-called politically correct and which will please the king. Here he tells the king, you get liberation through distaste for a company, for the company of those delighting in lucre and sense enjoyments, and by eschewing wealth and sense gratification esteemed by such people. They consider this wealth and sense gratification as the supreme. Distaste of such company. So this company makes a lot of difference. See, this comes even in Arad Bhakti Sutra, that one should keep away from such company of atheists, of sensual people, of adharmic people, at least till the spiritual bhav in us has not become absolutely strong. One needs to either avoid that company or avoid the discussion on those topics. Then what does he say? Vivikta ruchya paritosha atman. Spend some time in solitude. It is a great method to evolve, is to be by oneself. Then the introvertedness develops, the introspective abilities develop. One gets the focus and purpose. Why am I here? What am I doing? Otherwise, we get carried away. Looking at what other people are doing, we also want to fit in and we also want to belong. And then group mindset, everybody doing, so peer pressure, I will also do. This one point we have to remember in spiritual life, we are individual jivas. We may have come together for some time, and even if it is an organization, in a spiritual organization, we all work together also, but we are alone. Each jiva is individual yatra to the self. Nobody can compromise, nobody should invade into that thought process and clarity. Mukti cannot be given to groups. Mukti is individual only. And each one is walking their path. Each one is at a different level of evolution. And it is each one's journey that they have to accomplish by themselves. Nobody else will be able to do it for us. If we say हम साथ साथ चलेंगे, साथ साथ मुक्ति मिलेगी, oh, it is not some commodity like that to be given. So one may say that, Swamiji, we will come to the camp together, we will do this together, which is all right. There is nothing wrong by itself. But deep down, one should know that even if we are together, I am alone in this journey, because my limitations, my vasanas, my strengths are all different from anybody else. Many times we compare how much sadhana they are doing. I'm doing nothing. Or I am doing so much more. Well, they are doing nothing. 2 years back we met in this camp, and now look where I am, look where this person is. Why is all that required? Unnecessary. We are not even required to think about this BMI, what was said in the first point. No, detachment from anything that is not self. This BMI itself is not self. This itself we are not required to think about. Why will we think about somebody else? Very interesting, J. Krishnamurti, somebody asked him a question. What do you think about Osho? Now, Osho was in controversy at that point in time. So they asked him, what do you think about Osho? J. Krishnamurti's reply was fantastic. He says, I don't think about Osho. Simple. What do you think about Osho? I don't think about Osho. Khatam baat. Enough to think about the anatma, atma. Where is the time to think about anatma? No gossip. He didn't, that it got cut there only. See, in the world when we are doing some vyavahar, we may need to speak something, we may need to have certain idea, or somebody may ask us an opinion. Whatever best objective opinion we can give, we should give. After that, one doesn't care. Some time for oneself should be there. Nobody can intrude into that space, because that is my exclusive appointment with the Lord, with the self, whatever we are choosing. Nothing and nobody can come in between that. That is not, adamancy. It is not rigidity. It is not that, one hates other people. None of that. There is a certain purpose why we are here. And that is to evolve, to realize the self, to get out of this ignorance. And for that, we have to withdraw even from this BMI. That's what we do when we do Nididhyasana, withdraw from the world outside to the body, to the breath, to the mind, to the intellect, to ego, and drop all that. Why will we then think of something else? And that's why some time of solitude is a must. If one can do that on a daily basis, very important. Which is what japa, Nididhyasana, all that is supposed to be, vivikta, alone. Sometimes one does it in a group. That samashti sadhana has its own impact, there's no doubt. But one should not get dependent on that. There should be vivikta. So he says, vivikta ruchya. One should have ruchi, meaning an interest for solitude. That is one of the signs of spiritual growth, is interest of solitude. It is not depression, it is not running away from people, it is not escapism, it is not avoiding company. It is, I am happy by myself. I don't need anybody to complete me. I am doing my sadhana. I am happy by myself. I will do. And where I have to serve, I will serve also. That's the healthy balance. It's not two extremes. Full time with people all the time and then completely away from people. All, suddenly something happened. And there's no pendulum jumping like that. When one has to serve, one is serving. That is Bhagavat Roop. When one has to be in solitude, one is seeking solitude. That also Chintana Bhagavan only. So in the mind, there is no difference. Yes, externally there is a difference, because one is engaging, other is withdrawing. So that is a big difference. So this balance has to be struck properly. So on a daily basis, if one can do, on a weekly basis also, if one can do, that some hours in a week, no contact with anybody. Only do my sadhana, my study, whatever has to be done. Sometimes on a monthly basis, once in a month, Ramakrishna used to say, the Grahasti should go and spend one full day in the temple all by oneself. Don't you? He would go to one another deeper intense level. He would say that don't even take food with you. See how Bhagwan will feed you. Then your Shraddha in Bhagwan will increase. You say, Bhagwan, I'm here, sitting here in this temple, I'm going to only take your name. Bas. Swamiji, how will food come to us? You try. I'm telling you, we went on the parikrama. Again, I will go now, Feb, first week. One full month. Bhagwan only will send. Suppose one doesn't have Shraddha in Bhagwan, don't worry. Your own prarabdha karma itself will take care. Our entire life, everything is prepaid, by the way. Whether we know it or not, accept it or not. It is like a prepaid card. Full life is prepaid. Every single morsel that is going to come to us is already pre-decided by our own prarabdha karma. We do, even if we do any karma, work or not, the food will still come. Because it's prepaid. The confusion happens because we think that without work, food will not come. And that attitude to work and be contributing keeps us dynamic and not fall into tamas. That's a different matter. But even if one does no work, what food has to come, it will come. And even if one does lots of work, what food does not has to come, will not come. It's already prepaid. In the Vivek Chudamani it comes, Prarabdham Pushyati Vapuhu. Prarabdha takes care of this body. Nothing else takes care of the body. We think that our work takes care of this livelihood now. If I don't work, I will not get food. From a deeper standpoint, that is a myth. We will still get food. So with that bhav, one goes solitude. Vivikta Rucha. In today's world, Vivikta Rucha can be at least for 1 hour in the day, no phone. In the waking hour, don't say in sleep I am keeping the phone away. That is not counted. 1 hour in the day or half an hour, some time where I am exclusively focusing on doing something where I don't want to be in touch with others. It is my study, my sadhana, evolution, whatever I am doing, connecting to the divine. So Vivikta Rucha, Paritosha Atman, and you find joy in that. Love for seclusion, when finding delight in the self. What do we do in the seclusion is delight in the self, Paritosha Atman. Not that I'm sitting and doing some drawing, painting, coloring. That is still better than, just losing oneself outside. At least one is turned introvert. But as a spiritual seeker, the intensity here, the pointer here is intensely seek that Lord, the self, Paritosha Atman. Vina Harer Guna Piyusha Panat. And he also gives one other warning here. He says, but don't avoid drinking the nectar of the glories of Bhagwan. Vina Harer Guna Piyusha Panat. So in solitude, either one reflects on the self, or one remembers the glories of Bhagwan, or one can do both. So he says that. Then another interpretation of this is where the Katha of Bhagwan is going on, that time don't choose solitude, choose other time for solitude. Because if Katha of Bhagwan is happening and one is listening, then let the Katha go on. Let the Shravan happen of the Katha. Again, the point is not that Katha should become an escape route. If Katha becomes an escape route, then that is not what is meant. Meaning with Bhav, one listens to the glory of the Lord, then the purification happens. So sometimes people say, I am not coming to satsang. I am going to do my own, sadhana. Nothing wrong if one is really ready for that, and one has studied enough, one has bhavana, then one definitely can do, no problem. But sometimes one is not wanting to study further or understand deeper, or have bhav further, have Shravana Bhagwan's Katha. Then he says, no, don't do solitude, leaving this Katha. In the last stage of evolution, where a lot of Vairagya has come, supreme bhakti is there, then one can leave the Katha. Otherwise, one doesn't get the uh, opportunity to listen to Katha properly unless there is Bhagavad Kripa and some Punya Karma. And that too, to listen to somebody who may be well versed in the Shastra, or who may be realized, then that is most rarest. That one should not leave. So one should choose the time of solitude also very wisely. Then ahimsaya paramahamsya charyaya. So non-violence, minimum violence at the body level, mental level, no violence. So through non-violence, then paramahamsya charyaya. So living like a paramahamsa, meaning like an ascetic, like a tapasvi, not living like a bhogi. One quality of a paramahamsa is will accept whatever life brings. No resistance at all. Full surrender. That person is called paramahamsa. So when you say Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, so there are Hamsa sannyasis, then there are Paramahamsa sannyasis who have absolute vairagya and complete acceptance. No resistance for anything and no attachment to the BMI at all. They live in the highest level of vairagya and they live in the contemplation of the truth, and some of them may be realized also. Though realized people also are called Paramahamsa. So he says ahimsaya paramahamsya charyaya smritya mukunda charitagriya sidhuna. Then by remembrance, through an inquiry into that which is conducive to one's spiritual welfare, and by drinking the peerless nectar of Lord Mukunda's glories. So keep remembering that Supreme Lord Mukunda. And yamair akamair niyamaischa api anindaya nirihaya dvandva titikshaya cha. So many qualities in that one line. So he says here that one practices yama, yamaihi. These 12 forms of disciplines are given here in yama. This yama is not of the Yoga Shastra where 5 yamas are there, 5 niyamas are there. This yama has 12. You see, yamai, kamaihi, yamaihi, akamaihi, niyamaihi. So yama are 12 and this niyama are 12. See, that is what 12 are given. If you see in the translation, it is there. 12 forms of yama, which are they? Non-violence, truthfulness, non-thieving, absence of attachment. So some of them you find in the Yoga Shastra also. In the of these 12, 5 are there from Yoga Shastra also. Now don't ask me which came earlier, which came later. Bhagavat came earlier is my understanding. Yoga Shastra came later. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras came later. So non-violence, truthfulness, non-thieving, absence of attachment, modesty, non-accumulation of wealth and luxuries except in the interest of others, belief in God, continence, habit of meditation on God, firmness, forgiveness, fearlessness. 12. Swamiji, so many qualities are given. How will we ever realize the truth? In one life to develop one quality itself is so difficult. Now this is 12 qualities of only yama. And before that, so many things are already said. Now another 12 qualities of niyama also are given. What are they? Internal and external purity, muttering the divine names and the sacred text, austerity, offering oblations into sacred fire, reverence, worship of the Lord, pilgrimage to holy places, endeavor for the good of others, contentment, waiting upon the preceptor. From where all this is taken? So Bhagavat, Canto 9, chapter 19, 33 to 35. These shlokas are there. So he says all these now. See, this word yama and niyama, the reference of the elaboration, these 12 values which are given, that elaboration is in this context, in this translation, is taken from the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad. Sanatkumars have not taken from 9th chapter of Bhagavad. They have only said the word yama and niyama. We should not get confused with that, saying how did Sanatkumars take from the 9th chapter here? No, that is reference given here. So yamaihi, akamaihi, desirelessness, between yama and niyama is akama is given. The purpose is that both these should make me free from desires. That's the main point. Yamaihi, niyamaihi, akamaihi. So that is the point there. Then akamaihi, then don't engage in criticism and unnecessary pulling somebody down. All that is not required. For a devotee is not required at all. One such a nice quality, this quality Gurudev had, so beautiful. So many people left him and went. So many people betrayed him in that sense, and he decided and he trained people, but they left him. He didn't become bitter at all. They even went out and criticized him, but he never spoke one word against them. Some of these qualities we see in our Gurudev, he used to live. No gossiping, no talk, backbiting, no pulling down somebody, no criticizing anybody. What is wrong, he will point out, and he will say that fearlessly also. But no negative talk. That shows the mind is so pure, inspired, focused on the higher vision, work. Even if he fires somebody, it will be on that issue. After that, he doesn't have any dvesha towards that person, doesn't go on telling other people this person is like that person is like that. Nothing. And he also will know at the same time for which work, with whom to choose. He will not say anybody take any work. No. He knows, okay, this person is fit for this job, this person is not fit for this job, one should not give this to this person. That's purely based on the understanding of that person, not trying to pull anybody down. One of his names is Utsahavardhakaya Namaha, who continuously encouraged people and motivated them to achieve great things. So, anindaya, this is another quality which we can develop, that how are we using our speech? How much is gossip, small talk, backbiting, pulling down somebody, jealousy, all that. So he says, no backbiting. Nirihaya, no iha is desire. So akamehi and nirihaya, they mean the same thing. Here in this context, nirihaya can also mean abandoning all activity, selfish activity, because iha is selfish desire. So by earlier akamehi was said, so desire is covered there. Then here it means action. Selfish actions one leaves. Dvandva titikshaya cha. And what will one do? Be equanimous in the pairs of opposites. Just bear them. Titiksha, they will come and they will go. By prarabdha, it will come, it will go. Do whatever has to be done to deal with them, but mentally one doesn't get disturbed. Then what does he say? Then devotion to Bhagavan Sri Hari. Harer muhustat para karna pura gunabhidhanena vijrambhamanaya. So he says here, by devotion to Sri Hari, growing through the utterance of his praises which adorn the ears of the devotees. Bhaktya hyasanga sadasatya natmani. With great devotion, with great detachment, and whatever is anatman, then one rejects that. Devotion to the Atman, rejection of the Anatman. Nirgune Brahmani Chanjasaratihi. Again, he comes back to the same point. In that Nirguna Brahman, one must have that deep level of devotion and single-pointed seeking. Yada Ratir Brahmani Naishtiki Puman Acharyavan Jnana Viraga Ramhasa. These are all beautiful verses actually. When this joy arises in thinking about that Nirgun Tattva, Yada Ratir Brahmani Naishtiki, and one is not sometime that one gets thrilled by thinking about the Brahman. No. One is established in that saying that Brahman alone is the goal, and whenever one does Atma Chintan, one revels in that. Then that is Naishtiki. Then what should one do? That Puman, that person should have an Acharya, should go to a Guru. See, here he says, when this love for Brahma, please remember here in the translation, Brahma here means Brahman. Don't think it's Brahmaji. Brahma, because earlier the word is Nirguna. In that earlier line, no, Nirgune Brahmani, that. So, when this love for Brahma gets firmly rooted, man resorts to a worthy preceptor. So, one goes to a Guru. See, here it is so interesting. The Gurus themselves have come to the disciple, which again shows to us that if the student is ready, teacher will appear. We don't have to run behind the teacher, finding who is my teacher, who is my teacher, who is my teacher. No need. One may seek knowledge. One may go to people to gain Shastra knowledge, and one may try to apply in one's life. But we are talking about Satguru. The worthy preceptor who will guide us to the absolute truth will come into our life when we are ready for it. We have to only we have to only prepare ourselves. Raja Prthu did all the yajnas and so many things he did. Sanatkumars have come on their own. So many people's lives, if you see the great Mahatmas, their life, the Guru has come on their own. Nisargadatta Maharaj Guru came on his own. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. When he was ready for the Nirguna Tattva, Totapuri Maharaj came on his own. When he was ready for Tantra, Brahmani came on her own. He didn't search over any Guru separately. So there may be students and there may be certain cases or situations where a disciple also has gone in search of a Guru. But most of the times it will be the other way. Why? Because the Guru knows what the disciple needs, Ishvara knows what the disciple needs. How will the disciple who is ignorant ever find that who is a realized person? If one is a sadhak, one is walking the path, one may even be able to recognize, okay, here is somebody who is living what I am trying to practice, which is given in the scripture. So possibility this person is realized. That only possibility is there. Formally, one cannot identify and say, yes, this person is realized. That is only Shraddha Vishaya of that person, of that student. It may happen that the opposite person may not be realized. But anyway, Shastra says if the bhav of the Parabrahma is there, even in the unrealized person, the disciple will realize. That's a different discussion altogether. But the point is, most of the time it will be the Guru who will come to the student. When the student is ready, the right Guru will come. So now here he says that person goes to a Guru and analogy is given. Like the fire consuming the very source whence it originates, he dissolves his subtle body. That Guru dissolves his subtle body. Why does one go to the Guru? We go to the Guru to dissolve ourselves. That's why we take that Samit. Samit is taken in that Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, it comes. Samit Panhi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. We go to the Guru to burn ourselves. That is why we go to the Guru. And if that Guru is doing things to burn our ego, be most grateful and thankful to that Guru, because that is what is required. Because the Guru thinks I am an adhikari for that, and so the Guru is doing whatever Guru can, maybe through his words, maybe through the actions, maybe through, even some scolding, whatever it may be. keeping distance, giving silent treatment. There are 100 ways by which the Guru can teach, ensure that the disciple's ego is finished. The greatest act of compassion is that the Guru will burn our ego. But if the adhikara is not there, the Guru may say, okay, first of all, this fellow needs some cajoling, pampering, motivating, make that person feel good. And dhire, 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 we have to work on this. So depending on the adhikara, the Guru will do. But finally what the Guru will do, this is what the Guru will do. That dahatya viryam hridayam jiva kosham. Beautiful line this are. Dahatya viryam. He will destroy the subtle body. Oh Swamiji, why only subtle body? Hey, panchatmakam, this panchakosha, all will go. Or panchatmakam here means made up of 5 elements. Actually here is made up of 5 elements. Panchatmakam, because atmakam word is used, and jiva kosha, that is the subtle body. So panchatmakam, 5 elements the subtle body is made up of. And in that we think I am the subtle body, that is anatma chintan. The Guru will destroy that which is the ignorant, with the knowledge that ignorance will go. Yonim ivot thitognihi. So he dissolved the subtle body, mainly consisting of 5 subtle elements and enveloping his pure self, when the same has been freed from its latent desires by the force of wisdom and dispassion. That is this one. With jnana viraga ramhasa. Through jnana and viraga, this subtle body is burnt. That is the path of liberation. You see, first he said, seek that exclusively. And then qualities are given. And then go to the Guru. Then what the Guru will do, will destroy your avidya. Without Guru, impossible to realize the truth. The earlier we know that, the better. And if we have not found our Guru, pray to Bhagavan, please make me eligible, make me ready, please manifest in my life as a Guru. And Guru will come. If a physical form is required, a Guru will come in physical form also. Otherwise, the words of the Guru are also enough. So many videos of Gurudev are there, books are there. Even those are enough. They have come from the mouth of the realized master. And anyway, the Guru is not outside, Guru is inside only. So those words, when we reflect upon, and that intuitive wisdom will come, the guidance will come from inside. And that is the real guidance which will come, actually. Even the Guru outside takes a form only to awaken the Guru within, which is the pure buddhi inside. In that pure buddhi, the Chaitanya Swarup Atma reflects. And that is the inner Guru. That Guru will guide. And will destroy this subtle body through jnana, through vairagya. Then, in this portion, the last shloka here is Dagdhashayo mukta samasta tadguno naivatmano bahirantar vichaste paratmanoryad vyavadhanam purastat swapne yatha purushas tadvinashe. So now he says that when this subtle body that wraps the pure self and which stood between the jiva and Brahman, that has been dissolved, that embodied soul sheds all the attributes of that subtle body and no longer perceives that which is external to the self, nor his subjective states, meaning external world, nor this waking dream, deep sleep, none of that. How? Analogy is just like the dream world ends. So just as a dreaming man no longer sees the things of his dream when it has been broken, when that man has woken up. Meaning, this is the state of liberation. Dvaita will not exist. One will come to realize the absolute. Sanatkumars gave. Actually, in this much, the whole essence has come, that how to get out of this bandhan of samsara. Some more explanation is given that we will take up in our next class. Any questions for today? Okay, it's very arati.
मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की, मंगल प्रीति रीति धूम की, मंगल कांति हसनी दसनन की, मंगल मुरली दीना धुन की, मंगल आरती। मंगल बनिक त्रिभंगी हरि की, मंगल सेवा सब सहचर की, मंगल सिर चंद्रिका मुकुट की, मंगल छवि नयन में अटकी, मंगल आरती। पभी अंग अंग की, मंगल गौर श्याम रंग की, मंगल अति कटि पियरे पट की, मंगल चितमणि नागर नट की, मंगल आरती। मंगल शोभा कमल नयन की, मंगल माधुरी मृदुल पैन की, मंगल वृंदावन मद अटकी, मंगल क्रीडन जमुना तट की, मंगल आरती। मंगल चरण अरुण तरुवन की, मंगल करणी भगति हरिजन की, मंगल जुगल प्रिया भावन की, मंगल श्री राधा जीवन की, मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की, मंगल प्रीति रीति डोल की, मंगल आरती। मंगल आरती। राधावर कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम्, नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोऽयमग्निः, तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं, तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की।
ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम।